In the vast and perilous expanse of space, far from the reach of civilization and the law, pirates thrived. These raiders, ruthless and cunning, preyed on weaker ships, attacking unsuspecting cargo haulers and taking anything of value they could find. The galaxy was teeming with alien pirate factions, each more dangerous and brutal than the last, driven by the insatiable thirst for wealth and power. The vast majority of these pirate bands operated with a singular goal: to strike fast, claim their prize, and disappear into the void before the law could catch up with them. These pirates had honed their skills through generations of raiding, and their ships were armed with the most advanced weaponry, their crews deadly and highly trained. They were feared throughout the galaxy. But even the most fearsome pirates could not have anticipated what would happen when they decided to raid a human vessel. The human species had a reputation across the galaxy, one that was a mixture of skepticism, curiosity, and fear. To the aliens, humans were a young and unpredictable species, one that had only recently begun to emerge from the confines of their homeworld and venture into space. To the untrained eye, they were a chaotic and disorganized species, lacking the cohesion of other galactic powers. But there was something about humans that intrigued and terrified the galactic community. Despite their relatively short time in the stars, humanity had a knack for survival. They had survived wars, harsh environments, and even the collapse of their own societies. This tenacity and adaptability had earned them the grudging respect of many, even if their reputation for recklessness and unpredictability made them hard to assess. But that was precisely what made humanity dangerous. They were unpredictable. On the fringes of explored space, a ship belonging to a human cargo freighter known as the Orion's Edge was making its way through the vast expanse of a poorly charted star system. It was a mundane voyage, carrying supplies between a colony on a distant planet and the nearest spaceport. The crew was small, just a handful of humans, none of whom were particularly remarkable by galactic standards. The Orion's Edge was old, its hull scarred from years of travel through the roughest parts of space, patched together by a combination of the best and worst technology available. To the outside observer, it was nothing special. The ship wasn't particularly fast, nor was it heavily armed. In fact, it was often mistaken for little more than a drifting relic from a bygone age, a ship that was easy prey for any pirate who happened to be looking for an easy target. It was the perfect mark for any raider willing to take the risk. The pirate faction known as the Crimson Horizon had been watching the Orion's Edge for days, tracking its movements through the system. The Crimson Horizon pirates were infamous throughout the galaxy for their ruthlessness. Their ships were armed with advanced weaponry, their crews composed of former mercenaries and space criminals who had honed their skills through years of ruthless raiding. They were a highly organized and deadly group, feared by many. They had been in business for decades, plundering cargo ships and travelers, and they knew how to strike quickly and decisively. The Orion's Edge, with its weak defenses and relatively small crew, seemed like the perfect target. The pirates had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike, and it seemed as though the time had finally come. The Crimson Horizon's flagship, a sleek and heavily armed vessel known as the Ravager, closed in on the human ship under the cover of a nearby asteroid belt. The plan was simple: board the Orion's Edge, neutralize the crew, and take everything of value. The pirates had done it 1,000 times before, and this time they were confident they would be able to add another ship to their collection. They had no reason to suspect that this time would be any different. They didn't know that humanity, despite its seemingly disorganized appearance, was not a species to be underestimated. The Ravager opened fire first, sending a volley of energy blasts toward the Orion's Edge. The human ship's shields flared under the assault, but they held strong. The pirates' attack, while powerful, was not as effective as they had hoped. They had anticipated that the Orion's Edge would fall quickly under their assault. But instead of succumbing to the blast, the human ship's shield seemed to flicker and stabilize, almost as if the ship had been designed to withstand exactly this kind of attack. Confused but undeterred, the pirate captain, a ruthless, wily rake by the name of Drusk, ordered his crew to prepare to board the human vessel. They would take the ship by force if necessary. The Crimson Horizon pirates launched their boarding pods, sleek capsules designed to latch onto the hull of their target ship. Within minutes, the pods had attached to the Orion's Edge, and pirate raiders began their descent into the human freighter. They were confident, walking through the halls of the Orion's Edge with their weapons drawn, their eyes glinting with the thrill of a successful raid. But as they moved deeper into the ship, something began to feel off. The corridors of the Orion's Edge were narrow, cramped, and littered with machinery. The lighting was dim, and the air was thick with the smell of old metal and oil. There was something unsettling about the place. The ship felt alive in a way that the pirates couldn't quite put their finger on. As they moved forward, the pirates began to encounter resistance. But it wasn't the kind of resistance they had expected. The human crew did not fight like seasoned soldiers, nor did they have the combat training of the pirates. Instead, they seemed to operate with an almost savage efficiency, using the ship's confined spaces to their advantage. The pirates, used to fighting in the open, found themselves trapped in tight quarters, where their size and strength counted for little. They struggled to adapt, but the human crew seemed to anticipate every move, every attack. They had set traps, using their ship's environment to their advantage, making the pirates' weapons ineffective. One pirate, a hulking creature with a multi-limbed body, charged forward, thinking he could overpower the humans. But as he stepped into a narrow hallway, the floor beneath him gave way, sending him plummeting into a pit of sharp mechanical debris. Another pirate tried to use his energy blade to cut through a door, but the door was reinforced with a material far stronger than he had anticipated. It sparked violently as the blade bounced off, disorienting the pirate. The crew of the Orion's Edge was using these environments, corridors filled with intricate machinery and unexpected obstacles to incapacitate and disarm the pirates without ever having to face them head-on. In one particularly harrowing moment, a group of pirates attempted to breach the cockpit, only to find themselves locked out by an automated security system. They attempted to force their way in, but every time they made progress, a blast of energy from the ship's internal defenses sent them reeling back. They had underestimated the human ship's systems. The Orion's Edge had been retrofitted over the years with all manner of deadly traps, security measures, and countermeasures, most of them scavenged from old military tech. The human crew had designed their ship specifically to be a death trap for anyone foolish enough to board it. One pirate even tried to disable the ship's engines, but was instead trapped inside a room filled with self-repairing nanomachines that rendered him immobile in seconds. By the time Captain Drusk finally realized what was happening, it was too late. The pirates were in disarray, their forces whittled down by the humans' traps, counterattacks, and clever use of their environment. Drusk, a proud and ruthless pirate captain, had never been so humiliated. He had raided dozens of ships, and none had ever put up anything resembling this kind of resistance. The Orion's Edge was no ordinary freighter. It was a fortress in disguise. The human crew had known exactly what they were doing. In a final act of desperation, Drusk ordered his remaining pirates to retreat, to abandon the raid and return to their ship. But the human crew had anticipated this move as well. As the pirates attempted to escape back to their boarding pods, they found that the Ravager had been sabotaged. The human crew, using their own version of guerrilla warfare, had disabled the pirate ship's engines and communication systems, making it impossible for the pirates to escape. The Crimson Horizon pirates, once so confident and deadly, were now completely at the mercy of the human crew. What they had believed would be a routine raid turned into an unmitigated disaster. They had underestimated the humans, and now they would pay the price. The surviving pirates were captured and taken aboard the Orion's Edge, where they were left to contemplate the brutal lesson they had learned. The humans had no need for flashy weapons or advanced technology. They had won the battle not through raw power, but through ingenuity, preparation, and an understanding of their own environment. The Orion's Edge was a death trap because it had been designed specifically to exploit the weaknesses of any intruder's pirates, in particular, and turn the ship into a nightmare for anyone who dared to board it. When the pirates finally returned to the safety of their hidden base, they did so with a heavy sense of defeat. Word spread quickly throughout the pirate factions of the Crimson Horizon's disastrous raid on the human ship. From that day forward, any pirate who encountered a human vessel knew to treat it with respect or face the consequences. The galaxy had learned something vital. Underestimating humanity was a fatal mistake, and anyone who made that mistake would soon find themselves trapped in a death trap of their own making. The Orion's Edge was a warning to all who might think to prey upon humanity. You were entering their domain, and they were ready.